And I remember the first time Grouch met me, he was kind of like, "Who is this kid? Who is this weird dread-headed kid? And I don't know if I want to hang out with him." So he actually pawned me off to another friend who was weird. He was another weird rapper at that time. Trust me, he was a weird dude, like very eclectic. And I remember Grouch like basically said, "Hey, hang out with Axiom." And I went and I was like, "All right." And I went and hung out with Axiom. I'm like, "Why'd you make me hang out with that?"
Yeah.
And then after that, we made that song, and then it was kind of like, all right, we liked each other, and I kept coming over to his house like a stray cat, bro. I was like, once you let me come over and learn how to use this ASR 10 sampler, I'm like, I'm coming back.
The rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history. Next thing you know, I'm living in his mom's basement with him. And he couldn't get rid of me after that, bro.
Hey, that's dope.
Yeah.
Man, I couldn't continue this interview either or more like a conversation, but I have to congratulate you on 14 years clean, man. I think that's a big feat.
Thank you so much, man.
Before recovery, were you a hard person to be around professionally?
No, I wasn't, because what I used and who I am didn't really change. That's why it came into a shock. I mean, so many of my friends were shocked that I was using dope because they had no idea, because I just was the same guy. You know what I'm saying?
Were you ashamed of the habit and that's why most people didn't know? Like you would do it in private or do it like not around them?
Towards the end, I was taking so many pills and then moved over to heroin itself. And yeah, I didn't want anybody knowing what I was doing, because they would fucking want to choke me and be like, "What are you fucking doing?"
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so. I think shame is a part of that. I didn't want people to know.
I recall Grouch saying that Living Legends didn't always get along. I know Murs quit. Grouch didn't want to do Rock the Bells, even though everyone else wanted to. So you guys ended up passing on it. But then you and Grouch and Zion and I ended up doing the show, and I think some of the other members felt betrayed. And I wanted to know what your perspective on that is, because it must be dope to have, 8 or 9 of the dopest people in a group. But the downside is you have 8 or 9 egos in the room, and I imagine it gets harder to manage.
Yeah, being in a group is not easy, especially when you're all brothers and at one point all lived together, and literally everybody in the group has had a fist fight except for me. Like, I've literally never gotten a fight physically with anybody in the group. I could pick out everyone else fighting each other. There's been people knocked out cold, left in the alley after a show. There's been fucking wrestling in the tour bus, knocking shit over, breaking shit. There are just so many fights over the years, and we're talking years ago, bro. Like, no one has fought like that in years. Like, everybody's grown now. Like, nobody has any reason to be fist fighting anymore.
And I think that's a testament to like Grouch and Murs hooking up. It's like we're grown now. It's 20 years later. Maybe we butted heads in the past, but time goes on.
Exactly. I mean, it's a perfect example. They just dropped an album today. It's dope. I got to make a beat on it. They're going on tour together. It's just like people grow up, have kids, have families, and say, "Hey, let's make an album." And I think it's great. I love it. I love that they're making an album, that they made an album, and that they're doing this tour. It's fucking awesome. But as with any big crew of brothers or people that know each other and have been around each other for a long time, certain people have certain issues with certain people. I mean, it's just unresolved shit that may never be resolved, or, certain people grow, certain people don't grow much or grow in different directions. It's just natural, man. I mean, our circles of friends change as we get older, and, people that we were once inseparable from and spent every day with are no longer in our lives like that. But the thing about Living Legends and everybody in the crew, I don't talk to these guys a lot. I don't see them a lot, except Grouch, and I talk to Scarab, and I talk to Murs. Everybody else I don't really talk to often. But when I see them, it's literally, they're my brothers, and it's just like no love lost at all. Like,